Yeah, what I was just gonna say is I think the biggest advantage Warzone has is that Call of Duty just has a smaller learning curve in terms of getting into learn how to play it because it's very simple. Like you kind of just you pick up guns and you shoot. In
Mhm.
Fortnite, there's so much building involved, and there's like I think there's like a decent skill gap there.
Yeah.
There could be a decent skill gap and also a decent learning curve could deter like newer players in general. Although the numbers don't say it because
Yeah.
I just looked it up now on this website called Vista. I don't know if it's an accurate site, but it seems accurate. And as of May 2020, Fortnite has 350 million registered players, and Warzone has 50 million registered players.
Hey guys, it's me, Keyshawn, and I'm here with Raj, and welcome back to the MindSet Podcast. Today we actually have a special guest, Drew Patel. What is good? Hello.
Hello.
How are you
I think you
doing?
mean
Thanks for.
tacos. That's how
Oh,
everyone knows him, man.
oh
No
yeah.
one knows
I
him
guess
as
we gotta
Drew.
call him Tacos Bi.
Yeah, that's how everyone knows them.
Yeah.
My bad. My bad. Are
It's
you
alright.
excited to be here?
Yeah, I'm very excited to be here. How about you?
I mean,
Are you
I'm
excited to
glad
have
to
me?
have you because I'd say, today we're gonna be talking about Warzone and Fortnite, which seem to be the two biggest battle royales at the moment in terms of viewership and all that. So I know that you play both of them a decent amount. So you've known like the updates and what's happening and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we just wanted your input on this because I feel like this season that Fortnite has come out with is pretty good. And I haven't been playing Warzone too often, but I still think Warzone is a good game. So I want to know what you think because you play both.
Yeah.
But yeah, so before we get into that, be sure to follow us on all of our socials, guys. We post on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. We also upload our podcast on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. If you leave a review on Apple Podcasts, we will shout you out, and it helps us become better at this stuff. So yeah, we'd really appreciate it. But anyway, again, welcome, Taco. And I guess to get this started, some news, I guess, about Fortnite. Fortnite has season 3 now, right?
Yeah, chapter 2, season 3.
Yeah, so I
Did
guess
you guys like the event?
oh yeah, the event. I thought the event was pretty sick, and it made me realize like there's barely any company that can do better than Fortnite in terms of live events.
Cough, G, cough. I mean, not throwing shade.
Wow.
You see, the thing with the Destiny event was that was just like a technical feat for them. Obviously, they never did an event before,
Yeah.
so for them, it was just like more of a technical thing to get right. Understood why the event was not like crazy, but I think they could have made it shorter.
Yeah,
I
without
just
a
think
doubt.
it was too long.
It was like an hour and 30 minutes. There's no
Yeah,
reason
so
for any
that's
event
like
to be that long.
you didn't need to do all that. I don't think they
Yeah.
could have just had just the event. But then seeing that Fortnite event, even though I don't play Fortnite, just watching the event made me realize like how like good Epic Games is at making live events. Like they're unparalleled.
Mhm. So yeah, it honestly made me realize like, wow, this is actually a pretty good game. And the only reason that I don't like the game as much as like when we first started playing is that the skill base or the skill base for like most players has definitely increased from back then. You get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why when Fortnite came out with Chapter 2 Season 1, it was like, why did you make squads and everything skill-based matchmake when you have arenas already? You get what I mean? Which is the competitive aspect of Fortnite. But recently I've been enjoying Fortnite quite a bit. I've been playing it more.
I think that's because they took out skill based in squads.
I think so. But I guess that's what we're gonna get into because they did take out skill based, but they also added a bunch of other things. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Taco, what do you think are the like prominent features of this season that make it so different from back in Chapter 2, Season 1, and Season 2?
Bro, I genuinely don't know.
Wow. You play how many games have you played?
Here's the thing. you didn't really play season 1 or 2 as much as I did, because while I was playing season 1, first of all, season 1 was already getting stretched out, and so I got quickly tired of it. And then when season 2 came, it just came out of nowhere. Like, it didn't really add anything to the story. Like, it was cool to have new bosses and like the new weapons, but like that was pretty much it. And then season 2 took too long to, finish. So I feel like it's the new season, because every season, all the people that used to play Fortnite sort of come back. Like, maybe it's just for the victory umbrella, or maybe it's just to like check out if it's still worth playing or not. But I feel like it's just like, because it's a new season, a bunch of people are playing, and so you're most likely to run into people that aren't that good, and you're also, most likely to run into people that are like pros in this game.
Yeah.
Like, the two biggest changes that I always see in like a season, right? Like in a season update, one is the map, and two is like the meta per se. Like, not exactly, the meta, I would say. So
yeah, without a doubt, one big change that happened
is like,
so there's two big changes that I personally see.
Yeah.
So
the map is crazy, I think.
Yeah,
like,
the map is
75% water.
And
like, how does that play? Wait, I don't know if they changed, like,
they did change
meta
transportation sort of. So we'll get into that as well. But besides the map being changed, in terms of meta changes, there is no longer a pump shotgun. It's a charge shotgun now, which is sort of like in Apex Legends, where you get a precision choke on a peacekeeper and you aim down and it charges up. That's what it's like, except instead of aiming down to charge it up, you need to hold the trigger, and then when you let go of the trigger, it releases. So they got rid of pump shotguns, which I'd say were the biggest thing, like that Fortnite. It's like a staple of Fortnite. Remember double pump and all that stuff?
Yeah, that's like them taking out a scar.
Yeah, which I feel like eventually they might do. And also, one thing that the reason that this map I feel like is better than what it used to be is because transportation is a lot quicker. They have boats everywhere, which was the first prominent feature from like Chapter 2 Season 1, because they added like waterways that you can go through with boats, right?
Yeah.
So having boats everywhere throughout the map, and then even sharks that you could ride with like a fishing rod, it just makes traveling a lot more fun and quicker.
Yeah, and
which is something that I wanted to compare to. Sorry, Taco. Something that I wanted to compare to Warzone. Warzone has multiple different methods of transportation, and I feel like because of that, the people that want to move around very quick and get from place to place can do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what makes it so much more fun, and it could be like more fast paced. Whereas Fortnite didn't have that Season 1, Season 2 for me.
Also, like, talking about Warzone, so you know how, like I said, that in the new season they usually have two staple things at least, which is the meta change and then also the map change. So surprisingly, in Warzone's new season, neither of those were there. So if you guys know, the Grau is like ridiculously broken, right? And everyone thought there was a Grau nerf coming. Like, nobody thought they were not gonna nerf the Grau, and they didn't end up doing it. They added a couple other guns, like there's the Fennec, which is good, which is like the Vector, and they added the Galil. Neither of them compare to like MP5, which I think they're never gonna nerf just because it messes with ADL and pro plays. They didn't nerf the Grau, which is ridiculous. So Graus are still like run by 90% of people. And then also they've been teasing like an event with like a nuke for like 2 seasons now. There's been no map changes. Like, I feel like Warzone's almost getting stale because there's no changes like the past 2 seasons in terms of like meta or map.
Yeah.
Which I think Fortnite did really well with this
new season.
Fortnite season. Yeah.
What were you saying, Taco, from earlier?
Oh, there's also whirlpools.
Oh yeah, that's another.
Rips.
Yeah, that's another source of transportation that they brought. I guess you said it's comparable to rips from like Season 4, I think. Fortnite.
It literally shoots you up there, and
then you can glide anywhere. So that's that, and those are the seasons that I think were like one of the best, like from Season 2 to Season 5, 6. And then after that, that's when it sort of died off for me. So it makes sense when they added all these things where people can move around mad quick and people can like get into gunfights quicker. it's much better, you know.
Also, it's said that as the season like progresses, the water level is going to decrease, and that's when they're going to add cars. Because in the trailer they had cars driving around, and when we first started playing it, we're like, well, why can't I have these cars?
Another mode of transportation that they took out actually in chapter 1 or chapter 2 season 1, right? Because they didn't have we had what
golf
ATVs, golf carts, and the booster cart, quad crasher. But they did add helicopters, as you can see here, which I feel like was sort of like they did that to compete with Warzone, even though they might have not, you know what I mean? Because Warzone had helicopters, and Fortnite in the next season had helicopters as well, you know?
Yeah.
So speaking of them like competing, do you feel like any of them have an advantage over the other?
I feel like Warzone has an advantage in terms of vehicles over Fortnite, because specifically with helicopters, you could jump out of a helicopter in Fortnite at like max height, but if there's not water underneath you, or if you don't have one of those like crash pads, you're sort of screwed, and you're gonna take fall damage and die basically. But in Warzone, you have a parachute that you could deploy, and you should be fine. And also, like, everything in Warzone is on the map in terms of vehicles, so I think that's also an advantage. And there's tall buildings.
Yeah, there's a lot more like I guess information that you can gather from Warzone's map and like surroundings versus Fortnite's map, because Fortnite, all you have is locations, nothing else. Fortnite actually added the compass, and you can see red dots on where people are shooting from, which is a feature of COD. It's the newest COD, at least. So, I mean, that's the only new thing that they added for like information that you can get from the game. But besides that, it's clear to see that Warzone has so much more in terms of like bounties, shops. You have vehicles. You have they have the most wanted bounty where you can see where a specific person is as well. So like they just offer a lot more, which I think gives it an edge, because people would prefer to have more information that's on screen rather than getting information from your teammates. You get what I mean? Because having information on screen, Raj?
What I was just gonna say is I think the biggest advantage Warzone has is that Call of Duty just has a smaller learning curve in terms of getting into learn how to play it, because it's very simple. Like you kind of just you pick up guns and you shoot. In Fortnite, there's so much building involved, and there's like I think there's like a decent skill gap there. Yeah, there could be a decent skill gap, and also a decent learning curve could deter like newer players in general. Although the numbers don't say it, because I just looked it up now on this website called Vista. I don't know if it's an accurate site, but it seems accurate. And as of May 2020, Fortnite has 350 million registered players, and Warzone has 50 million registered players as of May 2020. Like those numbers are still like they're nowhere close. No. Warzone is not in half of the game that Fortnite is in terms of player base.
So what about? I mean, but Warzone hasn't been as long. I mean, Warzone hasn't been out as long as Fortnite has, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So then, do you feel like it's growing at a faster rate than what Fortnite is growing at right now?
Maybe initially, but like Fortnite had like that blow up phase that is just like I think unparalleled in terms of like I don't think it's gonna happen again, just because that like I keep bringing it back to this, but it was like the night that Ninja and Drake played together. Like since that day, it just completely blew up Fortnite and streaming, and it just like I don't think another game will mirror that. I think the best the game can do is how Warzone did. That's like the best the game can get in terms of blowing up, compared to Fortnite.
Yeah, because
I guess
Warzone
like the same level.
Everyone's talking about it still. You know, like so people go into other people's chats like now and they're like, "Yo, I'm playing Warzone right now. I just got a dub." You know what I mean? You don't see them saying that about like Fortnite or even Apex or things like that. It's always like Warzone for the majority of people.
So like comparing this, right? It just got me thinking. Do you think Fortnite? So biggest in Warzone, I believe, is the Gulag. Like that's what made it super unique. Do you think Fortnite will ever add like a Gulag gulag type thing, or like maybe you will go into like they already have like box fights, right? Like 1v1 box fights. But if you died, then as soon as you died, you went into like a 1v1 box fight against somebody, and if you killed the guy, you would come back.
I would say it wouldn't, because with the gulag you have people waiting there. I feel like with a box fight, if people were waiting there, especially box fights, they take a while sometimes for both experienced players. You get what I mean?
True. Yeah.
And it just can't be like, one thing that Fortnite has is like that bloom, so that RNG factors in a lot. If that makes sense. So I just don't know.
The main cap it off. Maybe they could only have like 50 mats each or something,
I guess.
Yeah, but then that would be, obviously copying Warzone.
Yeah, but it happened before where Apex came out and they had like the thing where you could pick up someone's card and then bring them back, and at the time that was so insane. Yeah. Like one of the best features ever. Fortnite literally
during that time, actually,
but they brought it.
During that time, people were thirsting people like left and right. You know what I mean? If you I remember when we were playing, it's like, even if you can't kill the entire squad, take on one of them and then take them out, and then that's it. If you die, that's okay. At least you took out one of them. That was our mindset.
Yeah.
So, it was happening with us. It was happening with everyone in the community. And after they added that in Apex, it was just like a breath of fresh air where you don't need to thirst, because it doesn't matter.
Almost just like, finally. Yeah. Like, why didn't we ever think of this? Yeah. Or why didn't anybody think of this?
Yeah. And I mean, so each thing had its own unique way. I guess Apex had its own way, and then Fortnite took it. But Warzone is so unique with the gulag that I don't think anyone will ever try it, nor can they try it.
Yeah, try to copy it.
Yeah. That's my opinion.
Just hit the jackpot with that, I think. Like the gulag in general.
Yeah. Which makes sense. You know why? Because, everyone in Call of Duty is like, yo, 1v1 me, bro. I'll wreck you. That's what it is.
He took gunfight and put it into the game, into Warzone. And I think it's such a, genius move.
Yeah.
Other than that, so I've been seeing a lot of streamers saying that, Fortnite's new season, before this season happened, I've seen a lot of people saying it's unplayable just because it was getting boring. But now I see, even Tifu was like, yo, not gonna lie, this new season's kind of fun. So, how do you guys see the new season? You guys having fun playing it?
Honestly,
compared to the other ones, yes, I enjoy this season more. Because there's also Marauders, I think that's what they're called, which is I guess pirates from space, because they come in a meteor, I think, which is in the beginning of the game, or a little bit into the game. And that adds a new feature, because before, in the other season, I think it was at the special agency places where there were these bots and they're protecting the area, but now it's just they still have those. If they're actually bots or are they actually teams. It's true.
Oh, as in the Marauders?
Of that. It reminds me of the agency people, kind of.
Mm-hmm. But they also build, so that's.
Who would you rank this season in terms of all Fortnite seasons?
So season 2 through 6 are definitely the top for me, but this beats what's Chapter 2, Season 1 and 2 were, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Though Chapter 1, it was nice at the beginning, where you got this entire new map and you could explore everything. After you had explored everything, it was kind of stale, in my opinion.
Okay.
And with the skill-based matchmaking, it just I didn't vibe with it. It just wasn't as nice. I would have much preferred to have non-skill-based, especially in squads. Which I feel like Warzone should do. Warzone should have non-skill based in squads.
They did one better, actually. They completely took out quads.
Oh my god.
They didn't even have to worry about people complaining about skill based and quads. They were like, we're just gonna take it out completely.
Were a lot of people complaining about it?
Yeah. I mean, as soon as it was announced, if you look at their announcement tweet, first tweet is by Courage. He's like, why would you do that? Second tweet also by Courage is like, oh, I got an idea. Let's take away our most popular game mode. And it was just streamer after streamer after pro player after pro player. I did not see one comment, and I've read 20 or 30 of them just scrolling down to see what the consensus was. I did not see one person that said it was a good idea. So I don't know why they did it, because it is their most popular game mode.
Yeah.
It's their most popular game mode for streamers and for people that are just playing with their friends.
Yeah.
Like, don't understand why you would put that out. I think it's because they wanted people to try their realism, and they knew that no one would try realism if quads was still there.
And your thoughts on realism are?
I think realism is terrible.
Okay.
Because, like, maybe I gotta play it more. I played one game. Like, I can't tell when I'm shooting somebody. And, like, it's increased headshot damage, which in a battle royale game is kind of sucks sometimes.
Yeah,
Especially with guns like the Grau, where you can actually beam people from 300 meters away if they got the VLK scope. So, like, you could just get killed from nowhere. Like, it's happened so many times where we're just running. Like, it happened twice in that game where I was just running, and next thing you know, I'm dead. Just shot from somewhere. And, like, they don't show you. So,
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like it doesn't fit with the whole theme of Warzone.
And so, because they removed their most played game mode, do you think that's going to be a mistake on them, or are they going to fix that mad quick, or like?
I mean, I feel like this is a mistake that they'll fix pretty quick.
Yeah, because they've been pretty on top of their things, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So they also said that there's like a mid-season update coming for weapons, like a patch. So I'm like 99% sure that if they have a weapon tuning patch, that the Grau will be nerfed. Because with the new season, they had no weapons that were tuned. It wasn't like some weapons got buffed or nerfed. It was like none of the weapons were touched. I do believe that if there is a weapon patch, that Grau is one of the ones that will be nerfed. There might be a new meta. It's like sometimes the most fun thing about a new season, just to discover the new meta, figure out the new way to play the game. Yeah, just like hope they do nerf the Grau. I think that could be a downfall if they don't, just because that gun actually requires like very minimal skill to use. You could just pop on a VLK scope and just beam people.
Yeah. Okay.
I remember slaying like you guys when I was playing on the other team. I picked up someone's weapon because I ran out of ammo. Just beamed all of you.
Yeah, Grau is just, I don't even know. Yes, what will be the new number one AR if Grau is nerfed? So I think it'll go back to
the M4.
Yeah.
Because it's a very balanced gun right now, you know?
I started using the M4 with the VLK. It's nasty. Like, it's disgusting. But like the new Galil's pretty good. It has like no recoil. So if they buff that, that could maybe be the new meta. I'm not sure. I just think there's gonna be like, I just want to discover a new way to play at this point. Like, it's like a routine the way we play now.
Yeah.
Like
that's
why loadout and Grau, P5, overkill, and then the next one pick up Ghost, and that's it. We slay out, which is still fun. Don't get me wrong.
But it can be stale sometimes.
Exactly. We're not playing as much as we used to like in the past couple of days, just because I feel like kind of tired of like running Grau 24/7.
Which is what makes me wonder, like, did Fortnite do something good to their season that's bringing back their player base, or is Warzone not doing enough at the moment and losing some of it?
I feel like because it's the new season, a bunch of people are playing
for Fortnite.
And we'll see, in Fortnite, and we'll see in like 2 or 3 weeks once like you get further into the season. I feel like if Fortnite doesn't add anything else, they're just gonna start losing some of the people.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And COD does have a certain thing where they added like locks or vaults.
Yeah, vaults.
To take a key to. Yeah, it was sort of mimicking Fortnite. And they also had like phones ringing somewhere. I remember playing like a phone was ringing, and
it's like a huge Easter egg that they got going.
Yeah. So I feel like in the future they will or should add something to like keep their fan base hyped a little bit.
In all honesty, I agree, Taco, and I think the one thing that we need to see is we need to see a nuke drop somewhere.
Oh, it's coming. I'm telling you, it's coming to downtown. I'm fully convinced downtown is gonna get wiped off the face of that map.
What if it's Stadium? Because Stadium is already like.
And I don't mind Stadium, but like Stadium doesn't hurt anybody, you know? No one really goes there. Even if someone is there, they can't really camp. Or you can camp, but it's not too bad because it's still open.
Yeah.
Downtown, on the other hand, it's a different beast, and I hate downtown. Like, people can camp in buildings. There's not a chance that there's never a team, the top skyscraper of downtown, you know, like the really tall one. It's terrible. And then Isaiah said, "Watch Airport get nuked."
Yeah.
Honestly, if Airport gets nuked, I will be so upset because Airport is the best drop in the game because no one falls there for some reason.
What if it was military base? Because military base would make the most sense to me. If it's like a nuke from a different country or something like that, they would attack the military base, right?
Be military, but maybe it's the people from military that made the nuke.
Oh, okay, that's true.
Never know, right? I'm just hoping it's downtown just because I hate the buildings there. Any circle that ends downtown, we win like maybe 10% of them. Because we always get beamed off of some team on the roof.
Yeah. I could understand that. People play very, very patient in Warzone, I feel like. Like, as compared to like Fortnite, because you can build, because they have that aspect of building, you can rush any team, and the moment that you hear a shot or get hit, you make the cover for yourself, right? Which, I mean, is nice, but sometimes building can get annoying, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because I was playing a game like the other day, and it was a 2v1. I was playing with Yechu, and it was the last guy, and he started to build a whole mansion.
Okay.
And the circle was getting like so close to the point where we can't even like stay in the circle, but we ended up winning. It was just annoying going up against that player just because he was building. We couldn't really shoot him or like have a good angle at him.
Yeah.
And it just made the fight longer than it should have been.
I understand that. I was actually playing and I got one of my dubs recently where it was in duos, so it was skill based, and because of the amount of wins that I have from Fortnite, my skill level is sort of high, so when there were about 20 people left in the game, everyone was turtling. And like I was just terrible. Like, I know honestly I'm still not a fan of it, but I managed to get through all of it somehow. I managed to take some people out and get secure a couple of kills, but it was just like, why is this still a thing, if that makes sense? And then I did end up winning the game, but I only won because the storm killed everyone else off. Like, I was in the center of the circle, and then I managed to get I was at 10 health, and then the last person died due to the storm.
But isn't that what happens to Warzone 2 a little bit? Because
no, the reason I say no is because the circle gets small enough for you to see people and shoot them. And people are staying on separate sides of the circle, and if we go to Raj's gameplay, I'm sure we can find multiple dubs where you like see everyone, and you can see how people are positioned with their team, and then as the circle gets smaller and smaller, you get to that encounter. You're never at the point where you need to be inside of the gas and trying to survive the gas tick. You're never at that point, because there is no cover that you can take.
But the thing is, similar to Fortnite, if you have the circle, you technically have the win. It's happened to me in Warzone many, many times where it's the end game and I don't have the circle, and as I'm pushing up, I get beamed from like one end or the other end. And I feel like Warzone and Fortnite have the same thing. I don't know if it's just because it's Battle Royale game.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're similar.
A particular situation that you described, I think it happens more often in downtown just because there's places to camp. But when the circle's out in the open, I think it's like 50-50 almost. Unless you're like on the top of a mountain and the other person's at the bottom. It's a little rough. I just feel like when the circle's out in the open, which it is a lot of the time, just when it's like downtown, I do think that it's better than Fortnite in terms of like you can't make your own
cover,
sit in the circle,
because in that moment where I won a duo fight, I was like shooting all of my bullets downward to just try to find that person that's inside the circle, but he just kept on building at one point and I couldn't get through that. Put a roof and a pyramid on top and you just like alternate them and you can't get through, which is why I feel like Warzone's endgame is a lot more fun than compared to like Fortnite.
Yeah, I agree with that. Isaiah also said, what about the new in-game event that no one really cared about? So I don't think the in-game event happened yet, because I do think they're gonna like have like a event like Fortnite, like Destiny. I don't know at which scale, because after seeing Destiny's event, it starts to make me think that maybe COD can't have an event like we're used to with Fortnite, like with the events that Epic Games has. I'm not sure what kind of event they're exactly planning for. Maybe the reason why they didn't do it to start the season is because they're trying to make it like work perfectly. I could see why it's getting delayed almost. So maybe that's the case, but the event definitely hasn't happened yet. I do think there's gonna be like a nuke that falls. It's gonna be like an in-game event. I just don't know.
I had to like
Okay, so fire sale. Isaiah asked about in-game events like fire sale, jailbreak, and then the supply hellies. So fire sale is basically when 80% of the shop is off, and like for revive is free, bringing your teammates back is free, and it's like when it first came out, when the season first came out, that those events used to happen every game, right?
Yeah.
And it was insane. And I guess people didn't really like it, so they like nerfed the amount of times it happens. Now it's not guaranteed to happen every game. It might happen at some games.
Yeah, for because I saw it happen twice where we got to see the supply drops come in the air, or the supply choppers.
Yeah.
And that's about it. I haven't seen anything personally, else.
That event happens like 1 every 20 games. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't even know if I'm just unlucky or what, but like I think the frequency is very low now. Almost to the point where it's almost like non-existent.
Do you think they added it, or like they increased the frequency in the beginning of the season to like make it known, like, hey guys, we have a new thing?
I think they just actually meant for it to happen every game, but they didn't realize the crazy effect it has on the game for some reason.
Yeah.
Like fire sale's insane. Fire sale, you can spam UAVs, and there's no way you can hide from an advanced UAV.
Yeah.
Even if you have Ghost.
Ghost still.
What we do is we just spam UAVs.
And then
we can see where everyone is on the map. And one time we got it like pretty close to end game. I would say there was like 30 people left, or 20-ish, and it was like guaranteed victory at that point. We saw where every single team was, and you see it for a pretty long time. Jailbreak is kind of nuts, where like everyone in the gulag or everyone that's spectating comes back.
As long as one of their teammates is alive, right?
Evan?
As long as one of their teammates is alive?
Yeah, as long as one of the... I mean, even if I don't know if it's... I don't know if it happens if, like, say all 4 of you died and you're just spectating another team. I don't know if you come back.
I wouldn't think so.
I've never been in that situation, honestly, because if all 4 of us die, we just leave.
Yeah. Might as well just get into a new game, right?
Plus, exactly. Like, the entire lobby sort of come back if everyone, or if that was the thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what it is.
In the game, obviously, right? So, like, how many people really stay in the game after they lose all 4 people?
That's true. I feel like what Warzone is doing more than Fortnite is that Warzone is actually listening to like what the people have to say, I guess.
Yeah, because without a doubt, a lot of people had a problem with skill-based matchmaking in Fortnite. Yeah. I can say that because, you know, no one wanted to go against Sweats 24/7, because some people, I'd say like me, are decent at the game, but like don't really want to try hard all the time. Yeah. So like playing against Sweats just isn't for me. And then if I'm playing with friends that aren't that good, they're still paired up against Sweats, and then it's like they have to deal with my level of players, which is annoying. Which happens in Rocket League as well and other games, but I guess in Rocket League, like, to me it doesn't matter that much, because at the end of the day they still do have like a ranked and casual set of games, if that makes sense. I don't know. It's hard to say. Fortnite listens to their community, but it takes a long time for them to actually get something done.
My personal opinion about skill-based matchmaking, like personally in Warzone, right? Don't really mind playing people that are my skill level in Warzone. So like in Fortnite, right? If we were good, or like our skill level in terms of wins, if we were to play a game, it would be people doing cranking 90s and stuff. And honestly, I can't compete with that.
Yeah.
Like there's no way, right? Well, I can't play that. But in Warzone, like the level of skill that you have, people just when you play lobbies with us, you just see everyone has custom loadouts that are the Grau or MP5 or something like that. They all slide cancel, bunny hop around, but like that's the extent of it. Not like we can do all those things too. Like in my opinion, like skill based isn't so bad for me.
But that I feel like it's only like that because the skill level of or not the skill level, what's it called? The roof or ceiling of like the skill gap for people is very, very small in comparison to Fortnite. Because Fortnite, there's so much more that you need to do with the game mechanics that you can't really like expect a person to learn over like 2 months.
That's what I was about to say. Basically, the mechanics of the game. There's only so many mechanics you can learn in Call of Duty before knowing all of them.
Yeah.
Like
Fortnite, you have to learn how to place walls and stairs at the correct time.
Yeah, like placing walls, editing, cranking 90s, like doing all
editing
this
is a huge one, because once you learn editing, that's a whole different like ballpark. Like you could know how to build, which I'd say I do, but then editing is just like there's so many different combination of edits, how quick you need to edit, which edit you need first, like which edit, like if you're doing pyramids, what's the quickest way to get up, how you're trying to like make your roof change so that you could build through it and stuff. Like it's just so much.
Yeah, that's why I don't really mind based too much, but at the same time I would still want to see it not in squads, just because like we play at that skill level and don't mind it doesn't mean that the people we play with don't mind it either, you know?
Yeah,
I would just have it where it's fully randomized, just based on your connection, rather than actually just the person's skill, or like the highest person's skill in the game at that moment.
Yeah, I feel like we're nearing the end, so
yeah,
I guess.
Any final thoughts on Fortnite's new season?
I think it's actually really fun.
I feel like
because of how they've added more transportation and people can move around quicker because it is water. You swim quicker in still water than you do walking or running on land. And then they have boats everywhere. You can take a shark if you need to. If you want to take the helicopter, you can. They have helicopters like all over the place, sort of.
Yeah.
There's whirlpools for you to like fly around everywhere. So there's really, really a lot. And because Warzone isn't really doing much that I've seen, besides removing their most popular game mode.
Yeah.
I just feel like they need to do something to get that player base back, which I think they can.
I mean, I don't know if they really lost player base. They just need to do something to increase it, you know?
Yeah, true.
Because like you said, it's sort of getting stale. And I wanted to talk about how like what two games are doing right. And I feel like it's crossplay. Because I can play Warzone and Fortnite with people on Xbox and PC.
True, yeah.
And crossplay matters a lot, believe it or not, because
it's the new standard, I think.
Yeah.
Everyone should follow. Even though I don't think games like FIFA and stuff, I don't know what reason not follow it, but I think it's the new standard and it should just be that way.
Yeah, and moving forward, I feel like the war between consoles, or like, you know, which one is better, PS4 or Xbox, I feel like it's gonna slow down a little bit, because not only are the specs getting better, so you could buy either one, and the only reason that you want to buy one over the other would be for the exclusive games.
Yeah, we've talked about this. I mean, you were in the podcast too, like listening, and you commented.
Yeah.
From what I remember. So yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. Exactly what we said back then. Like exclusivity and all that stuff. That's what's going to determine everything. Specs are basically the same, so it doesn't really matter per se. But things like The Last of Us 2, right? You're gonna want. A lot of people are playing that, which is something that we're gonna be talking about towards the end. But like those type of games, you want to play those because you got that console. You know what I mean? Just like how you want to play Halo on the Xbox One, which apparently Halo is coming to PC, right, Raj?
Yep.
Okay, so
which is fully persuading me to get a PC other than either console.
Yeah. So yeah, I 110% agree, Tacos. Other things like Apex hasn't put in crossplay yet, right?
Coming in the fall.
Oh, okay, so they're working on it, which is something that we said that they should have been doing.
Their big announcement.
They should have been doing that like from the start, season 0 when we were playing, which they said that they would, but it took them this long, and they've lost quite a bit of their players.
What about other games like Dead by Daylight?
Dead by Daylight is also working towards it. They recently added these little like you know in Discord you have numbers at the end of your thing. They added numbers in Dead by Daylight, which they've announced as well that they're going to be working towards crossplay by the end of this year. Hopefully it is like fully functional. So that would be nice, but that is still a long time away, and it's unsure because it is Dead by Daylight, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my thoughts on Fortnite versus Warzone. I feel like Fortnite can still, I feel like Warzone can still bring more to the table, and Fortnite we have to see after like 2 or 3 weeks, because that's typically when it loses most of its like, you know, player base, I guess you could say, because it's like, okay, we've done the same thing over and over again. just like how you're feeling right now, sort of, Raj, in Warzone.
Yeah.
LinkTree
still.
Yeah, because I remember back then when the season was ending on season 2, chapter 2. Everyone that I was playing with in squads when they introduced skill base was like a bot. I think there were like more than 10 games where I played, and every team that I went against was a bot team. They couldn't build, they couldn't aim, they couldn't shoot, and I was just playing against bots, which I guess is okay because I was tired of the sweats, but like that's not as satisfying as like beating a real team, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And one thing I just wanted to talk about right before we get into Last of Us 2, because I think you want to talk about that, right? So CDL was today, which if people don't know is like the professional Call of Duty league. And the reason why it's making a lot of news today is because there's this thing that came out a couple days ago. It's called the Cronus. Okay, so essentially you plug that into your PS4 and it controls your aim. So you essentially have no recoil, right? But it's not like aimbot like PC, so you can't really tell, right? And the craziest part about that is there's the team that won. They have this team called Florida Mutineers, and they have this new player who's like disgusting, like he's tearing it up. There's a lot of people saying that he is also cheating, that he's using the Cronus. And since Call of Duty's online, like there's no way for you to tell if the players that are playing are cheating because there's no check.
Yeah,
if there was a check, they could get out. It's just a USB. You could take it out, and then the person could check, and then you could put it in, and then you can cheat, right? Like it's crazy how, like, I don't understand how, if it's true, it'd be one of the craziest scandals in like pro gaming history, I think, because imagine like there's a lot of money involved. There's like, I think the winning team gets like $60,000 or $40,000, something like insane, right? Imagine you find out that the person's cheating the whole time with auto aim, even though I don't think they are. That's just like a whole different debate on like what do you think about the whole thing being online? Because a lot of pro players are complaining that because it's online, it's like chalk. Because LAN events are completely different, and like the teams before that were garbage on LAN are amazing now.
Yeah.
So it's like different games.
But I feel like LAN versus online is very different because you're in the comfort of your own home, and like I've seen like multiple pro players for any game talk about it. The nerves are there when you're playing at LAN. You know what I mean? So like it's just different. He said, this pro player, and I can quote him. He said, like, there's no team that's better at LAN than they are, like, you know, at their own place, at the comfort of their own home.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just find it very, very, I don't know, for them to be cheating, there should be a better way, just like how we talked about this Valorant has, I guess you could say, where the moment it picks up anything, it could just cut it, especially for big tournaments like that, because you need it for that. If you're willing to play in those tournaments, you should be willing to be ready for like that sort of commitment, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And also, so Champs is in August, which is like the last tournament, which is like the biggest tournament in Call of Duty. So what I don't get is why don't they, so like sports right now, like Liverpool or England in soccer, they have players with no fans. So why don't they play at events and instead have no fans at the events, but they could still play LAN? So like why don't they do that with Call of Duty events where like they have one place, like a warehouse, right, where they have the full setup, the players come in, they play, and then they leave? Like that could easily be done. And I don't understand why they're pushing the online thing so hard, just because I feel like it's possible for them to do what these sports are doing, where they could have like a LAN center, just like a lot of people had before, and it would only be the player. That way players are playing on LAN, so you don't have people complaining, you don't have people cheating, and like that would solve everything. Especially so Champs, the winning team gets $2 million, and that's the biggest that's like the biggest award in Call of Duty, period. Like I don't understand why they don't just play it.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like I played Black Ops, or I tried to play Black Ops, the campaign one, and one of the things I realized was there was no recoil back then. in the gun. And when I played Modern Warfare and I was just trying to like shoot my deagle, just like test it out and all that, there's bad recoil. So that USB thing does matter.
That Cronus thing is insane. I saw like a video of it. Like on one side they show an MP5 normally, and on the other side they show a regular MP5, and it's just like one's a laser, and the other one
I guess the
is
best
like
way to
regular.
compare it would be like the Recluse on PC versus the Recluse on console for any Destiny 2
that's
game.
actually the perfect. I'm sure not a lot of people understood that reference. Not gonna lie, like that is the perfect reference. That's like the difference. Like obviously you would never know if a pro player is really cheating, would you?
Yeah.
Because it's online. So like I don't know. Maybe they could just explore trying to have a LAN event with only the players.
Yeah.
And that
I agree.
would just not. That would be easy right now, and it would also. There's no cheaters. So.
Oh yeah.
So
besides that,
take, what would you play, Fortnite or Warzone?
Oh, my answer, it's Warzone. I'm just a fan of Call of Duty.
Personally,
I wanted it with Blackout, like a good Call of Duty BR.
Yeah.
Blackout was not it, but Warzone is finally it.
My answer is that I'm willing to play both of them. Usually it's rare for me to be the type that would play Fortnite, but Fortnite's been sort of alright so far. Hopefully it continues to be like sort of alright, because to me they're doing something right, which they should have been doing from the start, but it took them a while. They just struggle to listen to their community, which Warzone seems to be doing pretty good at so far, and hopefully they continue to. Both fun games. I'd say I'd play both equally as much, as long as I have people to play with, which is my main thing. As long as I have people to play with, then I will play those games. But if I'm not playing those games and I'm alone, then I'm just going to be sticking to my competitive games like Rainbow Six, Rocket League, Overwatch, all that stuff, because that's just what intrigues me more.
And the last thing that you wanted to talk about,
which
you're super excited to talk about this. The last.
I mean, it's just a small thing that everyone.
Wait, do you guys already know the ending, or?
I know nothing about Last of Us.
Okay, cool. Please don't spoil.
I'm not trying to spoil. I'm not trying to get into any of it. I just know that I've been asking people that have been coming through to my stream, because they are playing it, like Shadow Wolf and Dr. Bonky. They both got the game, and I was asking them like, what do they think? They sort of had different perspectives. Bonky was saying that it's definitely nowhere near as good as the first one, and like he was saying that they just didn't, they couldn't execute what they had before, which makes sense. Like, you see the Dark Knight and then you see the Dark Knight Rises, and you're just like, there's no way anything can beat the Dark Knight, and it can't really, right? So Bonky was saying that, and then Shadow, I asked him, and he was saying that some of the mechanics changed in terms of the game, but besides that, it's still overall great story, great plot, and it's like nice to see such a good story coming back to like gaming, because most games that people play now are like competitive games. Like Valorant had its own like I don't know, blow up or whatever you want to call it. But there hasn't been many story-based games that have taken the community by shock. So yeah, overall, people say it's pretty decent. Like, it's better than the average game that you play, right? Like, I'm trying to think of any story game that I played that might be average. I haven't been able to play, Uncharted, I guess. But Uncharted is top for like what it had at its time. Like, that was like, oh wow, this is a really good game. Yeah.
Adventure type games.
So that
another story-based,
Yeah, it was just like, oh, that's a really good game, compared to what they had back then. Besides that, I haven't seen much about Last of Us. I just know that it is worth getting it, and if anyone wants to check it out, you should. Personally, I'm not going to be playing it until the PS5 comes out, because I want to play while Unreal Engine 5 is there. I'm pretty sure Last of Us will be supporting it, because it did use Unreal Engine 4 when they made the first game. So I'm going to have to wait until then.
I'm going to be honest, I'm surprised they released it not fully. Like, if I knew, or if they knew that the new consoles were coming out in the fall, I really thought they would have like full on developed that game for the PS5 and then just ported it down to the PS4.
That's the thing though. I don't think the company knew that they were coming out that now, because they had everything planned while like saying like, oh, this game is gonna be on the PS4. They didn't think about like, oh, PS5 or anything like that. So that's why I'm wondering.
It's a PS5 or PlayStation exclusive. I'm surprised that they didn't know. They wouldn't be told. It's kind of nuts to me.
Yeah. I don't know. So hopefully it does have Unreal Engine 5, because I'd love to see it. You know, after we did our little podcast on that, I just feel like, wow, this game, you know, there's so many possibilities with story-based games. So I'd like to see Last of Us be one of those games where you can truly experience like how immersive a game is just via like graphics and gameplay. So yeah.
I feel like, never mind.
No.
Went way too long.
Okay. If you want to say anything, you can, Taco.
Sure. I feel like the games are gonna get even more immersive with the Unreal Engine 5, because the controller, or what I hear is that the controller is gonna have a lot more to offer in terms of like motion sensor or whatever.
And that's on the PS5 though, right?
And, yeah, the PS5.
Yeah.
And the graphics will just like amplify, but I'll still probably like play at 1080p.
The one thing I would say about that though is when the PS4 controller came out, they said the same thing about motion on that, and as well as like the big touchpad. They're like, oh my god, this is gonna be nuts.
Yeah.
And games are gonna be crazy with this giant touchpad. Then zero games took, like, other than like the initial launch titles which barely used it, like zero games took advantage of that. Like it might be one of those situations. Even the same thing with the triggers. So like you can, one of the main features which I think is kind of cool with the triggers of the PS5 is that it can be changed. The resistance can change. So like say you're shooting a bow and arrow, like when you pull the trigger, it feels like a bow and arrow. So they have that, but how many developers are going to actually take advantage of that and use that?
Well,
I'm not sure.
Spider-Man, Insomniac Games, who made the Spider-Man game for the PS4, took control of that, because I actually play with like vibrations on. I'm just like that, and I remember like first swinging like through Manhattan, they made the controller like shake a little bit every time Spider-Man was like getting to the bottom of the swing, because that's when like it would be the hardest to like hold on to, and then it would get lighter and lighter as you like move to the top. And even when you like just like stick on a wall or something, after swinging from like one web to another, like the controller shakes. And the touchpad also came into play in like certain missions in Spider-Man, but it didn't really like matter that much. You could have done it like without them, but it was just cool. And plus, in the trailer of the PS5, they showed a clip of like Miles Morales' side of Spider-Man, so I feel like they're gonna use the controller a bit more in that game.
I mean, I feel like that's what it is. It's meant for story-based games. You don't see it in games like what we're playing right now, which are more competitive games or multiplayer games. Like Last of Us, one thing that they did was that your flashlight that you had, if let's say it stopped working, you'd have to shake your controller or like tap it on your hand as if like you're tapping a flashlight, right? On the back end of it. And then it would start working again. Same thing with like looking around. I think it was like if you tilted your controller, you'd look around in different areas, which is all like motion control, which I know that during the PS3 they explored motion control a bit, because I saw that in GTA 5. But I do think story games utilize that type of stuff way more than multiplayer games. So it's hard for us to see or notice that type of stuff.
They did the same thing in Uncharted 4, where you had to like tap the controller to use the flashlight.
Oh, that makes sense. And that was on the PS4 as well, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. So story-based games are definitely going to take full use of it, I'd say. Just multiplayer games that we play are tougher.
Are you guys sure about that? Because I actually have the vibration on for the controller.
Yeah, I mean, vibrations are vibrations. The only point of it is for you to feel like you're actually, I guess, shooting a gun, or feel like there is some sort of like resistance,
Because this is kind of stupid, but I play with the combat knife and the riot shield. So when I have the riot shield out and like people start shooting the riot shield, like you can feel every single shot that's being shot at you, sort of. Not like actually feel it, but you feel the vibration. And it just makes it more
if you
intense.
play with vibration on, you're kind of crazy.
I don't know, Raj. I
just can't. Like, how do you play with vibration on? It just ruins my aim.
I feel like it's completely fine for me. I've been playing like that this entire time. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
It like just destroys makes the game a bit more something else. Like,
yeah, I'm all about immersivity. Is that what it is in games? And having vibration and having anything that makes it more immersive, I will use. That's why we have headphones in the first place, you know? Besides the fact that you can, like, listen more clearly and see what's around you and stuff like that.
And sound also plays a big role in terms of immersivity. Because, like Raj said, when you're pulling the trigger, it feels like you're pulling the bow. Because, like, you know, sound also comes into play.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, in films, they use sound, like, in a different manner to make you feel, like, one type of way or another. Like, that's the difference.
JNP said, when does the PS5 come out? Probably November. He said fall.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be delayed because of the whole COVID thing. It might be. I saw a picture recently where they made the first ever one.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
The thing is huge. It's like the size of the guy's torso almost.
But at the same time, it doesn't matter to me. Like, size is size, you know? I'm okay with everything like it has to offer because I know that it's gonna be a bulky console in the first place with everything they have. We're aiming for 120 frames, right? And 120 is quite a bit. Most people that have PCs don't run at that. Most people run at.
I don't know if they're gonna have 120 FPS in that game. Maybe let's work on like 60 FPS.
I hope they can reach 120
close to Christmas. Yeah, usually Thanksgiving time, November-ish. Pretty sure that's when it's gonna come out. Like, you never know, because right now, I mean, I don't think production's gonna be messed up too much. Honest.
Yeah.
It's like good now, but I don't know. We'll have to see. So I don't know which one's gonna. It's gonna be interesting to see which one comes out first, that or the Xbox, because the one that comes out first is gonna have a advantage in terms of like, you just come out earlier.
Yeah.
What games are coming out for the PS5 right now? No, is there any like exclusives that they announced?
Yeah, Spider-Man,
Miles Morales.
Oh yeah, I remember that. So the Spider-Man game, Gran Turismo, which looks pretty dope.
Was there God of War?
Looks sick.
I heard someone recently saying that there was a God of War that they
God of War Valhalla, Watch Dogs Legion.
Yeah.
So there's a lot. I mean, those are like the PS4 exclusives that everyone's always about, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm specifically sure. Watch Dogs because I think it's only a PS.
Yeah, Watch Dogs is sick. Yeah, we'll have to see. I still think PS5 is gonna be way more popular. It's always been in terms of like consoles. The Xbox has never been that popular. 360 is the one that came closest, and even then, the PS3 was still more popular.
Yeah.
But the main point for that was that the PS3 you didn't have to pay for online.
Yeah.
So
with PS4 they went out the window, but PS4 is still crazy more popular. So Fabro asked, is there a new Gran Turismo coming out? Yeah, so it's like it got announced. They showed like a little bit of a preview for the new console. I'm pretty sure it's coming out in November with the new PS5. They showed some crazy stuff, by the way. They had like an 8K demo. I don't know how that's gonna run on PS5. I don't think it is. But that game's like fully ready to go on PS5. That's like one of their main launch titles. They have like a big VR thing. Because with the PlayStation 5, they're having new VR stuff that comes out. Gran Turismo is like a huge, like they releasing.
It's kind of weird. You cut out, Raj? What did you say about Gran
All
Turismo?
I'm saying is Gran Turismo has 8K, which is nuts.
But yeah, anyway, I think that is the end of the podcast. Yeah, we got everything. Hopefully, Warzone can get its squads back in. You know?
P said PS5 starting at 700. I did hear rumors like that too. It got listed on the PlayStation Asia website for $700. I don't know if that was a placeholder or if it was actually going to be $700. It's going to be two versions though. There's going to be like a cheaper one and a more expensive. So maybe the more expensive one, $700.
Yeah.
$700 is going to be ridiculous if it is.
Didn't the PS3 and the PS4 have like crazy prices, and they usually went down.
If he says if they have 8K, don't you need an 8K TV? I mean, you do, but like the point of them releasing an 8K game is so they could zoom in. So like they could zoom into like in the game and still be super high quality. So they could like zoom in into like the dashboard really far if they wanted to, I guess, and still be like super high quality.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know why they would have 8K. I don't even think PS5 supports 8K titles.
You know, it's one thing that I recently heard this is that some games are going to be forward compatibility, which is different. Like, you know how we could have played, or you could have played Xbox 360 games on the Xbox One, right? So there are some games that are going to be coming out that are like, we can play them on the PS4 and play them on the PS5.
Yeah.
Which I think
Microsoft is making like a big deal about that too. Microsoft even went as far as to say that, so if you buy a game on Xbox One, so let's say the new Halo comes out, you don't get the new Xbox, right?
Yeah.
You get Halo Infinite on the old Xbox, you can get and then when you get the new console, that copy for you will be free. You don't have to pay for another game.
Okay.
Just get that same game on the next console.
Yeah.
You're essentially buying...
Which they had something like that for games like GTA 5. I remember if you went to GameStop with your old copy of GTA 5, you could give them an extra $10 and they'd give you the next game, right?
Yeah.
Which was solid.
This is like even next level, because like, you know how like you download games fully online now? If I download the game on Halo on Xbox One, I can get that same game for free essentially when I get the new Xbox and just download it. My account bought it, if that makes sense.
Do you think that's because everything is going to be like digital now?
I think that is because I think they're expecting not... Like, there was like a big disconnect. Remember what happened with Ghost when the PS4 came out? There was like a big disconnect between the PS3 and the PS4.
Yeah.
And like the 360 and the new Xbox. So I guess they don't want that to happen. Like, you can even play with people that have like the new Xbox, the new Halo on the new Xbox. It's like cross-platform. I believe they said the PS5 is going to be backwards coming. Yeah, it is. With most games. Hope it's like just the games that they choose. You're going to play PS4 game, GTA 5 been around 360. I don't even think GTA. So GTA is not going to get like a direct placement. Might down the line. But what they're going to do is they're going to make GTA like an online version separate and then just keep updating that. Kind of like they're doing with Destiny, where they don't want to release a Destiny 3. And they're just going to keep updating Destiny as the years go. I'm pretty sure they're going to do the same thing. Or they said they were going to do
a GTA 6 is coming out, isn't it? That's what I saw.
Yeah, but like they have like a separate thing that they're going to release. Rockstar is 100% milking everyone. It's like a separate thing that they're going to release that they update similar to Destiny, where it's like new game. They keep updating the same game.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. So that's it. We come to the favorite part of your portion, Raj.
Oh yeah, this is the best part because we find somebody to raid.
Yeah. Well,
I don't have anybody today, so it's all on you.
Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for listening and watching. This was the MindSet Podcast. This was Multiplayer Monday. Taco, thank you so much for being a special guest today. We appreciate all your opinions and everything that you have to offer for us. All you guys, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to follow us on all of our socials. We post on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. We also upload our podcast on Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and Anchor. If you want to leave a review on Apple Podcasts, we will shout you out, and it helps us become better at this. Again, thank you so much. I'm lost, Raj.
Man, you almost had it.
I'm lost. Oh my god.
Be sure to follow us on all our socials.
I said that. So what comes after?
I think you said, yo, keep this in, just saying.
Wow, okay. But yeah, thank you again, all of you, for tuning in. This was Multiplayer Monday. If you guys have any topics that you want us to talk about, be sure to leave it in the comments down below or let us know. We will definitely talk about them. Like today, Tacos wanted us to talk about Fortnite and this new season, and we did. So yeah.
You did.
Yeah, you did. From Fan Topic. Anyway, again, thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Peace.